Rejection. The word itself stings, doesn't it? Whether it's the sharp pain of unreciprocated love, the crushing blow of being turned down for your dream job, or the soul-sapping silence of an opportunity slipping through your fingers, rejection has a way of making us question everything. Am I not good enough? Did I do something wrong? Why them and not me? It wraps itself around your self-worth and whispers lies, convincing you that this is the end of the road. But here's the truth they won't tell you: rejection isn't the enemy. It's one of the greatest teachers you'll ever encounter, if you know how to listen. What if I told you that rejection isn't a dead end, but a redirection? That every no you hear is a nudge toward growth, resilience, and clarity? What if you could use rejection not as a reason to stop, but as the fuel to push forward, stronger and smarter than before? Today, we're diving into the art of reverse psychology, fueled by the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the philosophy of Stoicism. We'll uncover 10 powerful lessons on how to flip rejection on its head, turning every closed door into a stepping stone to your future success. By the end of this video, you'll no longer fear rejection, you'll welcome it as an ally. Here's a small yet meaningful step you can take. If you're enjoying this content, consider clicking the like button. By doing so, you're helping YouTube recognize the value of this video, ensuring it reaches more people who, like you, are searching for wisdom and inspiration. It's a simple way to spread positivity and knowledge to those who might need it most. And remember, transformation begins with small actions. Growth comes from taking steps, no matter how small, to engage, learn, and share. So, if this message resonates with you, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this video. It's not just about supporting the channel. It's about helping others discover tools that can guide them toward clarity and strength. Together, we can create a ripple effect of growth and empowerment. So, are you ready to reclaim your power? Stay with us until the very end, because these lessons could change the way you handle every setback in your life. And remember, if this video speaks to you, show your support by liking, subscribing, and joining our Victory Stoic community, a place where we take life's toughest moments and transform them into triumphs. Now, let's turn rejection into your greatest weapon. Number 1. Rejection is not aimed at you, it's just another perspective. Picture this: a mighty warrior standing at the gates of an impenetrable fortress. The doors are bolted shut, and the message is clear: you are not welcome here. At first, it feels personal, like a direct assault on their worth. But the warrior, steeped in wisdom, doesn't see this as defeat. They step back, look up at the towering walls, and realize that perhaps the gates were never meant for them to enter. Perhaps their journey lies along a different path, one less visible but far more rewarding. This is what rejection truly is. It's not a verdict on your value or a condemnation of your abilities. It's a reflection of circumstances beyond your control. A job you didn't land might have gone to someone who fits a specific, narrow mold. A relationship that ended wasn't because you lacked love, but because the timing or connection wasn't right. These moments don't define you, they define the other person's perspective, their priorities, their limits. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoics believe that events themselves hold no meaning, it is our interpretation that shapes them. Rejection is not an attack on who you are. It's simply a moment, an event, a flicker in time that passes like a shadow on the ground. What remains constant is your ability to choose how you perceive it. Think of a simple example: applying for a job and being turned down. At first glance, it feels like a statement, you're not good enough. But is that true? Or is it that the company sought a specific skill set, a particular experience, or even just a different energy? None of these things diminish what you bring to the table, they simply highlight that the fit wasn't there. The lesson here is one of perspective. Instead of asking, why wasn't I enough, ask, what can I control in this situation? You can't rewrite the decision, but you can refine your skills, strengthen your approach, and realign your focus toward opportunities that are truly meant for you. Rejection is not the end of your journey, it's a redirection. Like the warrior at the gate, step back and ask yourself, is this the only path, or is there another, greater road waiting to be discovered? The fortress may not let you in, but the mountain nearby may offer a view that surpasses anything you could imagine. Remember, every no you face isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a nudge towards something greater. When you master this perspective, you don't just survive rejection, you transcend it, using it as a compass to guide you toward your destiny. Number 2, rejection clarifies what truly matters. Rejection, at its core, is a force of revelation. It strips away illusions, forcing you to confront the truth about what, and who, is truly worth your time and energy. Like a sudden storm that clears the haze, rejection has a way of showing you what's real and what's simply not meant to be. Take relationships, for example. Imagine you've poured your heart into someone you thought was the one. You confess your feelings, but their response? A polite yet devastating, "I just don't feel the same." It's a blow, no doubt. But as the initial sting fades, you begin to realize something. Do you want to be with someone who doesn't value you the way you deserve? That rejection, painful as it is, saves you from wasting time and energy on a one-sided connection. It redirects you towards someone who will embrace and celebrate you fully. Or consider a long-term relationship that ends unexpectedly. You're blindsided, left questioning everything. But as time passes, clarity begins to surface. Maybe you see how you were always the one compromising, always giving more than you received. Perhaps you start to understand that staying in that relationship would have held you back from pursuing your passions, your growth, and your true self. The rejection becomes a gift, one that frees you to discover a love, and a life, that aligns with who you are. Even in small, everyday moments, rejection can reveal priorities. Maybe you ask a partner to join you on something meaningful, a family event, a creative project, or a dream you've been building. They decline, brushing it off as unimportant. In that moment, their rejection becomes a mirror, reflecting their lack of alignment with what matters to them. And while it's painful, it's also a wake-up call. Do you continue on a path of mismatched values, or do you seek someone whose vision complements your own? The Stoics teach us to view rejection as a form of clarity. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That power lies in how you interpret rejection. Instead of seeing it as a door slammed in your face, view it as a filter, sifting out what doesn't belong in your life. Think of it this way: if someone rejects you, they're helping you focus on what truly matters, someone who values you, a path that inspires you, a goal that's worth your effort. Without rejection, you might spend years chasing something, or someone, that isn't meant for you. So, the next time you're turned away, especially in love, ask yourself, was this truly what I wanted, or just what I thought I needed? Let rejection be your compass, steering you toward relationships and opportunities that align with your deepest values. Because here's the truth, rejection is never the end. It's the beginning of clarity, of alignment, and of opening your life to what's truly meant for you. In love and life, it's not about who turns you down, it's about where that turn leads you. And often, it's towards something greater than you ever imagined. Number 3, rejection reveals who you are under pressure. Rejection is a crucible. It doesn't just push you, it presses, tests, and ultimately reveals the core of who you are. Do you crumble at the first sign of resistance? Or do you rise, stronger, more determined, and more unshakable than before? How you handle rejection is the ultimate measure of your resilience, your character, and your commitment to growth. Let's consider the workplace. Imagine being passed over for a promotion you believed you had in the bag. The disappointment stings, and the initial reaction might be to complain or feel defeated. But what if, instead, you took that rejection as a challenge? What if you chose to double your efforts, refining your skills, delivering results so undeniable that the next time a promotion comes around, you're not just a candidate, you're the obvious choice. The rejection, painful as it was, becomes a catalyst for growth, pushing you to prove not to others, but to yourself, that you are capable of more. In love, rejection tests your emotional resilience. Picture confessing your feelings to someone you care deeply about, only to be met with, "I don't see us that way." It's crushing, no doubt, and the temptation to retreat into self-doubt is strong. But here's where the test lies. Do you let one rejection define your worth, or do you recognize that their response reflects their journey, not your value? Do you close yourself off, or do you embrace the courage it took to be vulnerable and allow yourself to love again, even better, even deeper? Rejection in long-term relationships can also reveal your strength under pressure. Imagine a partner decides to walk away after years together. You're left in the wreckage, questioning everything. But over time, the rejection becomes a mirror. It shows you where you compromised too much, where you lost parts of yourself to keep the peace. And in facing that, you realize your strength, not just to endure, but to rebuild, to rise from the ashes, and to demand more for yourself in the future. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoics understood that pressure doesn't create weakness, it reveals it. And in that revelation lies the opportunity to grow. Every rejection, every setback, every no, is an invitation to dig deeper, to discover reserves of patience, discipline, and fortitude you didn't know you had. So how do you pass this test? By embracing the discomfort, the disappointment, and the frustration of rejection without letting it consume you. View it as feedback, not failure. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this, and how can I use this to improve? Shift your focus from what you can't control, the rejection itself, to what you can, your response, your growth, and your next move. Rejection isn't a stop sign, it's a forge, shaping you into something stronger, sharper, and more resilient. It's not about the rejection itself, it's about what you do next. Will you let it define you, or will you rise above it, proving to yourself and the world that no amount of pressure can break you? The choice is yours, and the strength is already within you. Number 4, rejection cultivates patience and discipline. Rejection, though painful at the moment, is like a quiet teacher, whispering lessons of patience and perseverance. It asks us to pause, to reflect, and to trust that the path ahead, though longer than we might have hoped, still leads somewhere meaningful. It's not a denial of your dreams, but a gentle reminder that timing and preparation matter. Imagine a writer, pouring their heart into a manuscript, only to receive rejection after rejection from publishers. Each letter feels like a door slamming shut, but instead of giving up, the writer continues to refine their craft. They edit, rewrite, and improve, driven by a quiet belief that their story deserves to be told. And then, after countless setbacks, the right publisher finally says, yes. That one yes doesn't just bring success, it brings the fulfillment that comes from knowing you earned it through patience and discipline. In love, patience can feel like the hardest lesson of all. Perhaps you've experienced rejection in a relationship, where someone you deeply cared for chose to walk away. It's easy to feel defeated, to wonder if love will ever come again. But rejection has a way of slowing us down, giving us space to heal, to grow, and to understand ourselves better. Over time, you come to see that the time spent waiting wasn't wasted, it was preparing you for a love that aligns with who you've become. Even in the smaller, everyday moments, rejection asks us to practice patience. Maybe it's an opportunity that seems just out of reach, a promotion you've been working toward, or a goal that feels endlessly delayed. The waiting feels unbearable, but in that waiting, you're developing resilience. You're learning to keep showing up, even when the rewards aren't immediate. And when the moment finally arrives, it feels sweeter because you know how hard you worked for it. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." The obstacles we face, and the rejections we endure, are not barriers to our growth, they are the growth. Each no you hear, each door that closes is teaching you something: how to refine your skills, how to stay steady in the face of doubt, and how to keep believing in yourself even when the world seems to say otherwise. So, the next time rejection comes knocking, take a deep breath. Remind yourself that this isn't the end, it's simply a pause. A moment to gather your strength, to prepare for what's ahead. Trust the process. Trust that the delay is shaping you into someone who will not only achieve their dreams but will cherish them all the more because of the journey it took to get there. Rejection isn't here to break you, it's here to teach you patience, discipline, and the quiet power of persistence. And when you finally reach that goal, you'll look back and see that every step, every setback, was worth it. Because it wasn't just about achieving something, it was about becoming someone stronger, wiser, and ready for everything life has to offer. Number 5. Rejection inspires creativity. Rejection has a way of leaving us standing in the ruins of our expectations, staring at a closed door we thought would lead to everything we dreamed of. It's painful, yes, but it's also an invitation, a quiet challenge to find another way, to forge a new path, to create something out of nothing. Think of love, that fragile and beautiful thing we all seek. Imagine loving someone deeply, confessing your heart to them, only to hear, "I'm sorry, but I don't feel the same." The world feels smaller at that moment, and the silence that follows is deafening. But slowly, as the pieces of your heart begin to mend, you realize that their rejection isn't the end of your ability to love, it's the beginning of a different kind of story. Maybe it's a story where you start loving yourself more fiercely. Maybe it's a story where you channel your emotions into art, writing poetry, painting, or even just rediscovering the joy of your own company. That closed door forces you to look inward, to create beauty from pain. Rejection in relationships often pushes us to reinvent how we connect with others. Perhaps you've been in a long-term partnership that ended unexpectedly, leaving you grappling with questions like, "What now?" and "Who am I without this?" As the grief subsides, you begin to explore new ways of being. Maybe you join a class, learn a skill, or travel somewhere you've never been, things you might never have done if that relationship had continued. That loss, as painful as it was, becomes the spark for reinvention. Beyond love, rejection can be the birthplace of innovation. Picture a couple dreaming of starting a family, only to be told that biological children aren't a possibility. The heartbreak is immense, but instead of letting it define them, they explore other options: adoption, fostering, or even dedicating their lives to helping children in need. They create a new kind of love story, one born not from traditional paths but from resilience and open-heartedness. Even in everyday life, rejection forces creativity. A business idea is turned down by investors, but instead of giving up, the entrepreneur finds a way to bootstrap their venture, finding success on their terms. Or an artist whose work is dismissed by galleries chooses to share their creations online, building a loyal audience that connects with them in ways traditional avenues never could. Marcus Aurelius teaches us, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. The Stoics understood that rejection isn't a void, it's an opportunity to think differently, to create where there was nothing before. Every time you're told no, you're handed a blank canvas, a chance to paint a new picture of what's possible. So, when you face rejection, whether it's in love, in work, or in your dreams, allow yourself to grieve, but don't stop there. Look around. What doors have opened because of the one that closed? What new ideas are waiting to be born from this moment of loss? Rejection may feel like the end of a story, but in truth, it's often the prologue to something even greater. The most beautiful creations often come from broken places, and the most powerful journeys begin when the road you're on suddenly disappears. Let rejection guide you, not to despair but to creation. Number 6. Rejection keeps you humble. Oh, the sweet sting of rejection, nature's way of reminding us that, no, we're not the center of the universe, and no, success isn't handed out like free samples at a grocery store. If arrogance is a hot air balloon, rejection is the sharp pin that brings us back to earth, often faster than we'd like. But don't worry, this crash landing comes with a silver lining: humility. Let's take the classic example of the aspiring musician. They walk into the shiny office of a major record label, demo in hand, dreams practically bursting out of their soul. The executive listens, nods politely, and says, "It's just not what we're looking for right now." Translation: "We don't see a single dollar sign in you." It's devastating, but after the tears and the "they'll regret this" speeches, the musician starts to rethink. Maybe it's not about impressing executives in suits. Maybe it's about connecting with real people. So, they head to smaller venues, post songs online, and build a following of fans who are. And lo and behold, they find not just success, but purpose. Rejection served its role. It took them off their high horse and put them on a path to authenticity. Or think about dating. You've just been ghosted after 3 dates that you thought were pure magic. The ego bruises. How could they not see how amazing I am, you wonder, before spending 2 hours rereading your texts like a detective searching for a crime. But here's the kicker: rejection forces you to consider that maybe, not always, but maybe, you aren't perfect. Maybe your hilarious jokes don't land with everyone. Maybe you were so focused on being impressive that you forgot to connect. And in this humbling realization, you start showing up as a better version of yourself for the next person who comes along. Humility through rejection isn't about self-loathing, it's about self-awareness. It's about realizing that the world doesn't owe you a win just because you showed up. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive." Rejection is part of that privilege. It's life's way of shaking us by the shoulders and saying, "Keep working. Stay grounded. There's more to learn." Take another example: the entrepreneur pitching their big idea to investors. They're convinced they've got the next Apple or Tesla, but after the pitch, they're met with polite nods and a firm "we'll pass." It stings. But maybe, just maybe, their grand vision wasn't as bulletproof as they thought. Instead of sulking, they go back to the drawing board, tweak their approach, and learn how to listen to feedback. When success eventually comes, and it often does, it's built on a foundation of humility and persistence, not entitlement. The truth is, rejection doesn't just humble us, it makes us better. It keeps us striving, learning, and connecting with what truly matters. Without it, we might never pause to reflect on our weaknesses or appreciate the victories that come from sheer hard work. So, the next time rejection smacks you in the face, let it sting, sure, but then thank it for the reminder that you're a work in progress. Because here's the secret: the world doesn't need perfect people. It needs people who are willing to grow, adapt, and stay humble enough to keep showing up, no matter how many times they hear no, and that, my friend, is where true greatness begins. Number 7. Rejection prepares you for better opportunities. Rejection often feels like a cruel twist of fate, doesn't it? You're standing at the threshold of what you thought was your dream, only to have the door slammed in your face. It's easy to get lost in the sting of disappointment, thinking, this was supposed to be my moment. But here's the truth: sometimes, the universe knows better. Sometimes, rejection isn't a punishment, it's a redirection, a way of clearing the path to something far greater than you could have imagined. Picture this: you've spent weeks preparing for a job interview, poring over every detail, crafting the perfect answers, and rehearsing your best version of, "I'm a team player." The day arrives, and you nail the interview, but a few days later, the dreaded email comes through: "Thank you for your time, but we've chosen another candidate." It's devastating. You think, that was my shot. But a month later, another opportunity arises, one that's not just a better fit but offers more growth, more fulfillment, and more alignment with your true goals. Looking back, that initial rejection wasn't the end, it was the beginning of something much better. In love, this lesson is no less profound. Imagine giving your all to a relationship, only for it to fall apart. You're left questioning everything: your worth, your choices, your future. But as time passes, you start to see the cracks that were always there, the ways that relationship held you back from becoming the person you were meant to be. Then, when you least expect it, you meet someone who values you in ways you never thought possible. That heartbreak, as painful as it was, prepared you to receive a love that's deeper, truer, and more aligned with who you've grown into. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." The Stoics understood that every loss carries within it the seeds of transformation. The rejection you face today might be the very thing that positions you for a better tomorrow. It's as if the universe is saying, "Not this one," not because you're not ready, but because there's something greater waiting for you. Even in the smallest of moments, rejection sets the stage for growth. Maybe you didn't get the invitation to a social event you were hoping to attend. It stings, sure, but that free evening allows you to stumble upon a new hobby, meet someone unexpectedly, or simply reconnect with yourself. That no wasn't a loss, it was a pivot. The key is to trust the process, even when it feels like the world is working against you. Rejection isn't a closed door, it's a guiding hand, gently steering you towards something that fits better, feels truer, and offers more. It's a reminder that what's meant for you will always find its way to you, but only if you're willing to keep moving forward. So, the next time rejection comes knocking, don't see it as a failure. See it as a redirection, a recalibration of your path. Trust that the universe, with all its mysterious timing, is clearing space in your life, not for what you think you want, but for what you truly need. And when that better opportunity arrives, you'll realize that every no along the way wasn't an end, it was a necessary step towards something extraordinary. Number 8. Rejection inspires self-reflection. Long ago, in a time of gods and heroes, there was a young warrior named Lyra. She was bold, skilled with a blade, and known throughout the land for her courage. Lyra's dream was to join the legendary Silver Guard, an elite order of protectors who served the king. Every warrior in the kingdom aspired to wear their silver crest, but only the best of the best were chosen. After years of training, Lyra finally faced her trial. She stood before the council of elders, her sword gleaming, her heart pounding with anticipation. She completed the tasks with precision, fought her opponents with valor, and bowed deeply, awaiting their decision. But the verdict was not what she had hoped. The eldest of the council stood and said, "You have great potential, Lyra, but you are not yet ready. The Silver Guard demands more than strength, it demands wisdom, patience, and self-mastery. Return when you have learned these lessons." The words cut deeper than any blade. Lyra's heart burned with shame and anger. She had worked tirelessly, given everything she had. How could she not be enough? She left the council chamber, the weight of rejection heavier than her armor. For days, she wandered, her dreams shattered. But as she sat by a quiet stream one evening, staring into her reflection, she began to ask herself questions. What did they see that I could not? What must I learn to truly be worthy of the Silver Guard? In her solitude, she started to notice her flaws. She had relied too heavily on brute strength, neglecting strategy and mindfulness. She realized that she often fought with impatience, letting her emotions cloud her judgment. Lyra had always been quick to blame others for her failures, but now, sitting alone with her thoughts, she saw her shortcomings. And so, Lyra began anew. She sought out a hermit who was once a great general, learning the art of strategy and foresight. She spent months meditating in the mountains, taming her restless spirit. She trained with healers, discovering the strength that lies in compassion and understanding. Years later, Lyra returned to the Silver Guard, not as the same warrior who had been rejected, but as someone transformed. This time, the council didn't just see her skill, they saw her growth, her humility, and her wisdom. She was not just accepted into the Silver Guard, she became one of its greatest champions, a living legend who carried the crest with honor. Lyra's journey is a reminder that rejection, though painful, is often a mirror. It forces us to look at ourselves, to ask the hard questions we might otherwise avoid. What can I do better? How can I grow? Without that moment of self-reflection by the stream, Lyra might never have become the hero she was destined to be. In life, rejection serves the same purpose. A failed relationship might lead you to reflect on how you communicate or how you handle vulnerability. A missed opportunity might push you to refine your skills, sharpen your focus, to understand yourself better. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Rejection isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a transformation, a chance to turn inward, to grow stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true potential. So, when you face rejection, remember Lyra. Sit by your stream, ask the hard questions, and let the answers guide you to become the hero of your own story. Number 9, rejection is the fuel for motivation. Rejection often feels like a punch to the gut, a moment that leaves you questioning your worth and choices. But for those who dare to look beyond the sting, rejection can be the very thing that lights the fire of determination. It's not just a setback, it's a challenge to rise, to grow, and to prove, not to others, but to yourself, that you are capable of more. Let's start with love, a place where rejection hits hardest. Imagine confessing your feelings to someone, only to be met with the dreaded words, "I don't feel the same way." It's heartbreaking. But what if this moment of rejection became the turning point? Instead of letting it define your worth, you choose to let it shape your next steps. You start focusing on yourself, exploring hobbies you set aside, investing in your health, and rediscovering your passions. Months later, you're not just someone who moved on, you're someone who thrived because of that rejection. You've grown into a version of yourself that the old you wouldn't even recognize. Take another example, a long-term relationship that ends unexpectedly. The rejection is devastating, and it feels like a part of your life has been ripped away. But as the days turn into weeks, you begin to reflect. You start to see how you compromised your own needs, how you settled for less than you deserved. This heartbreak pushes you to set boundaries, communicate better, and redefine what you truly want in a partner. The relationship may have ended, but it leaves you better prepared for the love that's yet to come. Even outside of love, rejection has fueled some of the greatest success stories. Michael Jordan, for example, was cut from his high school basketball team, a rejection that could have crushed his dreams. Instead, it ignited his determination. He trained harder, pushed himself further, and became one of the greatest athletes in history. His story isn't unique, countless others have turned rejection into the motivation to achieve greatness. Rejection forces you to ask hard questions. Why wasn't I chosen? What can I improve? How can I grow? These are not easy questions to face, but they're the ones that push you to refine your skills, sharpen your focus, and build resilience. Rejection compels you to act, to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than what others see in you. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Rejection is that obstacle, the roadblock that forces you to find a new path. It's not an end, it's an opportunity to grow stronger, more determined, and more creative in your approach. So, when rejection strikes, let it sting for a moment. Then let it motivate you. Let the "no" you hear today inspire you to work toward the "yes" you'll earn tomorrow. Whether it's in love, work, or any other aspect of life, rejection isn't failure, it's fuel. And when you learn to harness it, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Number 10, rejection teaches you to let go. Imagine holding onto a bird with trembling hands, desperate not to let it fly away. The harder you grip, the more it struggles, its wings beating against your palms until you're left with nothing but an empty ache. Rejection feels much the same, a reminder that some things are not meant to be held, no matter how much you want them. But here's the twist, letting go isn't a loss. It's freedom. It's a chance to open your hands to something far greater than what you were clinging to. Take love, for example. You may pour your heart into someone, believing they're your soulmate, only for them to walk away. The rejection is agonizing, leaving you questioning your worth. But in the quiet that follows, you begin to realize that this love, this person, might have dimmed your light rather than helped it shine. Their absence becomes a space for you to elevate your energy, reconnect with your passions, and discover a deeper, truer version of yourself. What once felt like an ending was an invitation to grow, to rise to a higher frequency where real, reciprocal love can find you. Rejection doesn't just free you, it challenges you to raise your vibration. It asks, are you living at your highest potential, or are you settling for less because you're afraid to let go? When someone rejects you, it's often the universe's way of saying, this isn't your path, because there's something better waiting, if you're willing to trust and release. Consider a different scenario, a job opportunity that you poured your energy into, only to be told, we've chosen someone else. It stings, and the initial reaction is often self-doubt. But as time passes, you realize that the role might not have aligned with your values or your growth. That rejection becomes a moment of clarity, a signal to stop chasing what doesn't serve you and instead focus on honing your skills and aligning yourself with opportunities that match your true worth. Marcus Aurelius said it best, if it is not right, do not do it, if it is not true, do not say it. The Stoics understood that not every door should be opened, and not every battle fought. Rejection is a teacher in disguise, urging you to step back, reflect, and ask, what truly aligns with the person I am becoming? Letting go isn't surrender, it's empowerment. It's releasing what no longer serves your journey so you can attract what does. It's about recognizing your value, lifting your energy, and creating space for what resonates with your higher self. So, the next time rejection enters your life, don't see it as a door closing, see it as a window opening, a nudge towards something better. Let it inspire you to release, to rise, and to trust that what's meant for you will find you, not because you chased it, but because you became the version of yourself that was always ready to receive it. Conclusion. Rejection isn't the end, it's the beginning. Each no you face is an invitation to grow, to reflect, and to come back stronger. It's a reminder that life's challenges are not here to defeat you but to shape you into the person you're meant to become. Every door that closes redirects you to a better path, every setback teaches you resilience, and every heartbreak opens space for something greater. Which lesson from today resonated most with you? Have you ever turned rejection into a victory? Share your story in the comments, we'd love to hear how you've transformed setbacks into stepping stones. And if this video gave you a fresh perspective, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the Victory Stoic community. Together, we take life's toughest moments and turn them into powerful opportunities to grow every single day. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius taught us, rejection doesn't define you, your response to it does. The road to success isn't always straight, it's the path you carve with resilience, purpose, and unwavering belief in yourself. You are stronger than every rejection, braver than every fear, and capable of achieving more than you can imagine. So, stand tall, embrace the lessons, and let each rejection fuel your journey toward greatness. Because here at Victory Stoic, we know that every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. Let's face them together, one step, one victory at a time.